What's good? What's good? What's good? Yo, this is your boy Big Will dropping another video. Yeah, I think I'm gonna title this Right Club, Wrong Time. I mentioned in a video before about this thing called the fifth dimension. And just to be real brief, to jump on it, the fifth dimension is time. So when you look at things from different perspectives, you can look at it by the three dimensions that we know of, length, height. You can look at it from sides, top, bottom. So that's your three dimension. Your fifth dimension is time. And when you look at something at one period in time, then you look at it at another period of time, you might notice some difference, and therefore it changes your perspective. My biggest example with the fifth dimension is went to a rave at a church, and it blew my mind because I never knew what would go something like that would go down on church grounds, but it was crazy. It was mad crazy. It was mad fun time, and then just by happenstance, I rode by that church maybe a week later, and it's an up and coming, fully functioning church. I mean, they were having service. So I'm like, do the members of that church know exactly what happened a week before? Because some crazy stuff went down. So that's the whole concept behind the fifth dimension. I try and get into places whereas you would never understand or know what was going down when it went down unless you were there, because it's no evidence of it other than time has passed and things have changed. So right club, wrong time is a story where I do this thing where I ramble, just wander around different hoods and things like that just to see what's going on, until you actually walk the streets. You may miss a lot of stuff driving by your own neighborhood. So that's one of the things I like to jog, to see things in perspective, jogs at different times, see what's going on at different times. And then, like I said, you never know what you'll run into. So this particular night, I'm hanging around in DC, and a lot of these stories that I'm gonna go through, they're dated. So this club that I went to was Nations. It was near the waterfront in DC, and I don't even know if it's still there. But the point of the story is, so I'm wandering around figuring out what I'm gonna do on a weekday. Because my job let me, I was a bouncer at the time, so they was like, hey, we don't need you here today. So cool, I'm gonna go find something else to get into. So I'm just driving around. I'm like, yo, the Club Nations, I heard a lot of good things about them, so let me go check them out. I didn't check a calendar. I didn't check, what's going on this night, this, that, and the other. So lo and behold, I get to the club, and I roll up, and the bouncers come up, and they pat me down and all that, and like, yo, you sure you here? You sure you're at the right spot? And I'm like, yeah, this Nation's right. They was like, yeah, but you might not be here at the right time. And I'm like, okay. So I never paid it that much mind. Went over to the little ticket booth, paid them my cash, walk into the front door, and this is the first time that I've been into one of these things where it's fifth dimension. I didn't know that, different clubs had different nights. So I'm used to your Thursday college night, Friday, your party people, Saturday gets crazy, and then Sunday is back to the college night. And that's your crowds at clubs, because I'm a bouncer. That's kind of how the transition goes. So here I'm on a Wednesday or Tuesday night, not knowing what's really going to go down. So I get into this club, and I'm looking around like, yo, is somebody getting married? Because people are wearing like wedding gowns, full wedding gowns. They got, the little lace gloves and stuff like that. They got veils on. And then as I noticed, they got like black lipstick and black nail polish on. And the guys are in suits or they're in trench coats, and they got their hair is all black hair, dark hair, or it's like platinum blonde or white blonde hair with black streaks in it. And I'm like, yo, what in the world is going on? So I go to the bar, because that's my spot. So I hit the bartender up. I give them the speech, and I have to let y'all know what the speech is, because I do that every time I hit up a new bar. So I give him the speech. He gives me his concoction that he calls his own. And I started sipping on that. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? He's like, yeah, man, it's golf night. Yo, you didn't know that? And I'm like, no, I had no clue. So then I'm like, thinking back, that's what the security guards was talking about. So this Club Nations, it's a big warehouse type club where they have 4 different dance floors, 4 different types of music. So you got your salsa, you got your techno, you got your hip hop, and whatever else is on the other floor. So I take my drink and I start wandering between the different floors, and I noticed they got this place packed. I mean, wall to wall, goth, emo, all black, you know, dressed up, and they partying. So I'm like, hey, I done spent my money you know, to get in this joint, so I'm not leaving. So I finishes my drink, I get out on the techno dance floor, start doing my thing, and you know, get into it, and then I'm into the crowd and things, and you know, they cool people. So they started vibing with me. We doing, but you know, I got my baggy clothes on. I got my t-shirt. I had a leather coat on at the time. Cowboy hat. You know, this was not the right night for this type of attire, but I'm in there vibing, and you know, they saw that I was just having a good time, and they started having a good time with me, having conversation with those people. So, you know, they was good peoples. We was having a ball. You know, got a chance to go outside for a smoke break. Most of the greatest conversations happen on a smoke break. So I'm out outside, and like, yeah, they're like, man, never knew that, you know, you would be into this type of crowd. I'm like, this type of crowd, man, a crowd is a crowd. I'm a party where I party. That's how I do it. But what is going on? It was like, yeah, this golf night, we do this every Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. And, you know, it's kind of vibe. But I'm just, you know, they were impressed that me being a black person and with a cowboy hat, that throws them off for a loop. You know, was in there vibing and chilling with folk, having a good time. I'm like, man, people like to have fun. And people who like to have fun together are always great people to hang around. So that is my story on the right club, wrong night. So I was at Nations, and Nations was live. It was popping back in the day. Like I said, now I definitely believe they've torn down that whole neighborhood, rebuilt the stadium, baseball stadium in that area. So I'm definitely thinking that it's not there. If maybe Nations has moved, because I know I see a lot of ads on my email and things of things going on at a club called Nations. So I don't know if it's the same one. They just moved or something like that. But just know that you might get surprised. You walk into a club on a different night, because there was another club that I went into, and it was vampire night. And that was a very interesting night, because the vampires were not happy to see Big Wyll in a club. I'll have to let y'all know about that on another day. That'll be another story. But just know, always have fun, man. Keep up, keep doing what you're doing, and don't be afraid to do what you need to do to have fun. Don't wait on nobody else. Your time is your time, and make sure you use it right. So this is Big Wyll signing out.